All right guys, so I've been wanting to do a video like this for a little while. What we're gonna be doing is going over different subscribers' live stores and breaking everything down. We're gonna be going over the products and we're gonna be going over the ads. So we're actually gonna be going inside live ad accounts, Google ads, Facebook ads, and analyzing what's working and how I would tweak it. But of course, one thing we really need to dissect is how to structure your landing page, what are kind of common problems I see with different stores, and how to fix it so that way you can have a high converting store. So when you get traffic, it converts into sales. So this is gonna be definitely a very packed video. And honestly, it'll actually act as a mini course because you will see a ton of examples. So I'm really excited. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So let's get into our first store. So we're looking at Paw Huggies. Now this store is actually doing 40K per month in revenue, and it's mainly through Facebook ads. So this is very surprising because these products are so, it's gonna be very competitive. But regardless, congratulations, you're doing 40K per month. So let's see what this magic landing page looks like. Okay, so I wanna kind of give bullet point structure of what I look for every single time in a landing page and what I've noticed to really help with conversion rate. So the first thing is the starting image. Like if we look at it on mobile, this is the first image that I see, and it needs to either be a lifestyle image that describes the product or some other type of image that easily describes this product, because this is not, you're not selling just a blanket. You're selling something that has probably a ton of different features, as I had to see as I scrolled through. So that's the first thing. It needs to be very dumbified, and it needs to explain exactly what this product is. And if you can have a lifestyle photo with it in use, then that really, really helps, especially if it's with your target demographic. Now, the next thing is, as I scroll down, is the button. So there's two things. You don't want to have text saying get it now or buy it now. That's going to actually reduce the amount of add to carts and then reduce the amount of purchases, because a lot of people will actually believe that if they click this button, they're immediately going to purchase. And so what you want to have is just literally have it say add to cart, and you can use an Ajax add to cart function where it literally goes from your landing page or product page straight to checkout, and that really helps with conversion rate. And there's actually a bunch of apps on the Shopify store that can do that. And the next thing is the color. So your website accent color is this nice teal, right? So you want your button to be an opposite color. So a nice green or orange would have it pop out. The reason why is because you want to have this button consistently reminding the prospect as they're scrolling through to go ahead and click and add this to cart. So that is another thing. Now, if we scroll through the page, I see that we have a size chart. That's good. And then I see a huge block of text. So you do not want to have just an enormous block of text. You want to have, like, a good rule is actually 50% text and 50% image. Now, if you want to be even more advanced, you can use a GIF, and an example of this would actually be this right here. Like, you'll notice it literally explains the entire product in 3 seconds. It dumbified the process, it explained the product, and it made it very engaging. And the last thing you want is for your prospect to use a ton of brain glycogen trying to figure out if this product is right for them, or if this product is actually doing what your Facebook ad video or what your Google ad kind of said it would do. So if we keep going, we'll scroll through the page. Another thing I like is that there is at least a lot of selling, which is good. This is a little bit too small. And another thing that I've noticed that really helps is once you see a product is working, go invest into really high quality images. Like, I can probably tell that these are taken from AliExpress or wherever, Alibaba. And if you can get high quality professional images, it makes your entire brand have more authority, especially if you are in a niche store, which I want to talk about that real quick. So if you're just getting started, you do not want to get started with a general store. General stores are now having a very bad connotation. Almost everyone has been scammed with dropshippers having these spammy dropshipping products on Facebook and having the same kind of cookie cutter look. So you want to immediately separate yourself before more people start catching on, and you want to have an overall branded approach and a niche store so you look like an authority in that space. Overall, actually, this store is doing that because it is in this niche. But eventually, if you see that, let's just say this is the product that's working, then you can invest a little bit more into different images and creatives, and that will increase conversion rate. But overall, as I keep scrolling through, this is good that there's a lot of selling. And if you want to put like how it works, typically, and how it works should go a little bit higher above. It should be one of the first things that the customer sees as they scroll. So I'm actually going to be going over some other examples of longer styled landing pages, and it'll give you guys some ideas of things you can use in your ad copy or angles that you can do for your product, because it's very important. One of your main goals should actually be to have the customer be very engaged with your landing page, because the longer they spend on your page, the longer they spend with your brand, and the more comfortable they'll be from purchasing from you, because they'll see that you answered most of their questions versus someone else who maybe only answered a couple questions, had some bullet points. They won't feel as confident in that product versus yours. So overall, this is actually not a bad website. There are some things definitely to tweak. And another thing is bundles. Like actually, if we go into this other website, this is Wigglefish Willy. This is actually their homepage, but I don't want to really critique this one too much because there is quite a few things I would change, but we're gonna just scroll down and look at the positive right now, the bundles. I'm a really big fan of bundles. If you're kind of hovering over break even or you're trying to become more profitable, having a bundle styled structure is going to help immensely, especially if you can justify it with logic on why someone should get your best deal, and it'll be justified with a discount. So I've noticed around a 30% take rate on the one where I say this is the best deal or this is the best offer, and that has really helped with overall profitability. And so the way you can actually structure this, you can use Zipify pages, you can use gem pages, and then when you click order now, it should go to checkout. And truthfully, this shouldn't say order now, it should say add to cart, and you'll see a higher click-through rate. So that's a couple things. And before I actually go through other stores, I want to show you a couple examples of stores that I look at for inspiration or for ideas. Like for example, this store right here, we're looking at Clearrear. Now they have absolutely scaled like crazy. If we look at their traffic, I'm using SimilarWeb right now. They actually started this way before the trend. So in a way they got lucky, but they really capitalized on their luck. So if we look, they started way back, I mean, even before November, and they've scaled it like crazy right perfectly with this trend. But what they did that was unique is they have their landing page structured very well. They have a longer style landing page, but they also really have amazing Facebook ads where they kind of reiterated their creative. Their Google ads is pretty good. It's kind of getting, in my opinion, most of probably their brand traffic. And overall, it's a well-oiled machine because right now this industry is really competitive, but they have so much data and they started earliest. So that's why they're gonna be able to survive. Whereas other people that start right now selling this product, it's gonna be a straight uphill battle. But overall, I want to explain kind of the psychology and some ideas that you can take that you can then apply to your own store. Like the first thing, if you can do this is a huge bonus, is lead with curiosity or lead with the main benefit. So the main benefit here is that this customer is going to save money on toilet paper by buying this bidet attachment. So that's huge. Now, one way you can actually make it more interesting is saying how much money will this person save. So putting a specific number is going to make it more believable. And also, I'll just say there's two things that people are really attracted to. They love numbers and people love faces. So they like seeing faces and numbers. And so if you can kind of combine the two, that's definitely going to make your landing page overall more interesting and more relatable. Another thing that they have very close up top, which is a great thing to have, is these bullet points, but also you want to have bullet points that answers a lot of your frequently asked questions or a lot of the immediate questions that you get either on your ad, in your chats, in your email. You want to have it up top, and you also want to sprinkle reiterating those answers to those questions throughout your landing page. Customers will probably have, a top 3 questions, and you want to make sure to answer it over and over and over. So as we scroll through, we'll see that they describe their product, they dumbify the entire process. Here's step 1, step 2, and I can tell that one of their main questions might be, do I have to have a handyman to install this? Yes, no, you don't, because it's literally 3 steps, and they keep on selling. Now, another thing I want to mention is that there's really 2 types of people. So a lot of dropshippers are actually only talking to one type of people, and that's the action takers. People that see the product, like the product, don't really read much, they skim through and they go and buy. Like, that's a very small portion of buyers. You have another half of people that are more practical. And so you'll notice a lot of smart marketers or advanced marketers are using this kind of longer styled landing page approach, because you have these practical people that are actually reading through and seeing logically, why does this make sense for me to buy this versus something else? Okay, it upgrades my bathroom. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, I see that there's an option for me. It can save money. That makes sense. Simple installation. And then as they have their questions answered, their last question is, okay, how much does it cost? What's the price? So then that's when they click, and they have an option to click whenever they want. And so at the very bottom, frequently asked questions, perfect, that's what you always want to do. And if someone is really on edge, you have a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, and this always helps. So I don't want to go too deep into this, because I would rather just look at actual stores and just show you guys specifically how to adjust it. But this is like, this overall concept, I believe, is very important, and I think will help you as now you're making your new pages, and maybe give a new perspective. So this is the other store that we got, which is dramatically different. And I don't want to just tear this apart, but you know, the background needs to be why, like, and these products are very, very tough. Okay, so look, if you're just getting into dropshipping, you do not want to go with, you know, some apparel company or something very broad. You want to go very specific. So like, when I brought up examples like this, putting green, like this product is perfect. Like this product right here, very good idea. It's very simple, it's very specific to a customer, and the landscape is actually pretty good. Even when I mentioned yoga headstands on my channel, I think I mentioned that 2 videos ago, I mentioned it and some people started selling it, and I got messages that they're getting sales, which is great. But it's more important about the concept. So make sure to choose like specific products that like speak to a very specific demographic or customer. Don't go very broad. I don't suggest starting an apparel company, but that, of course, that's just my opinion, because on the other side, like these guys started an apparel company, but they did it very creative. They did it very unique. And so this is one idea that you can do. If you do want to go in this competitive space, you can kind of go this angle. But let's go ahead and keep going. Now, here's the next product. So this actually overall as a layout, let me break down the layout first. This is a good layout. Make the button a little bit brighter. I see that there's bundles right here. The selling is good. It's more of a dropship style approach, but I do want to hype on one thing, the reviews. So people are now expecting to see real life pictures of the product, and they want to see a customer review of someone that's just like them. So longer styled reviews is really going to help, especially if someone is ready to purchase, but they're just looking for that extra push. So this is good that there is actually like real photos, but unless you're advertising worldwide, you do not want to have these customers that are from, you know, Russia. You want to have, if your main customers are from the US, it needs to show like United States, or just take out the flag and have like USA names. Oh, and I also want to hype actually on trust badges. I know this is actually funny. So a lot of people say, oh, trust badges, remove all of your trust badges, it's spammy. But the truth is, not a lot of people have split tested whether these trust badges are bad or good, and I don't think they really understand why. Trust badges are actually good for certain demographics, and for other demographics, it's not. So if you're advertising to the older demographic, trust badges like satisfaction guaranteed or safe checkout, like it's actually really good. Like the older demographic, they respond better to nice, cleaner style trust badges. But if you're selling to a younger demographic, then you don't necessarily need trust badges, and you can kind of remove them. So let's keep going. Now here is the next store. Oh man. Okay, so now we have a general store, and it's mainly, I think, into fitness, so trying to ride a fitness trend. This is going to be really tough. And I know like there's this idea, and it's weird. There's this idea that if you get a bunch of products and you just test it on Google and just see which one gets sales, then you can like focus on that product. That was an old idea many years ago. Like maybe you can do a general store, you know, a couple years ago and see which is the winning product. But now it's more about trusting the process and having an entire process to test inside that niche. You can test a couple different products inside a niche, but just testing blindly is going to make it very difficult, and we'll see an example very soon. All right, so now let's switch gears and let's actually go into some live ad accounts, see some products, what's working, what's not, and we'll first be going over the Google Ads accounts, and then after we're going to be looking at Facebook ads. So let's get into the first one. Okay. So this is the first account, and what I noticed is that this is actually a student, because how they structured all these campaigns, how we have shopping, we have a big net, we have long tail keywords, our high, low, medium, along with all of our SCAGs. This is exactly how we structure our campaigns. Now we can see that overall it was profitable, it was a 2.32, but what this person did was they took a risk and they went into a very competitive industry of bidets. So like I mentioned before, it's going to be very competitive to jump into this space, but nonetheless, they made it work. So we're going to go through the ad account, but I'll just say what you could do, since you do have 130 conversions, you're profitable, you could take all of that data and scale it with Facebook. So let's actually go through some of the campaigns. So the first thing I always suggest is starting with a shopping campaign and a SCAG campaign. So let's actually first go over the shopping. So if we just click on shopping right now, and I want to actually look at some of the search terms that we were showing up for. So if we just filter by cost, the first thing I would have done is excluded this broad one because we spent $102 on it without a conversion. And what I'm looking at right now is making sure that I see relevant terms. And what we can see is that these are very relevant. And what we'll look at in another count is pretty much the opposite, where it's kind of just scattered everywhere. And so all of these are pretty good, and what we can actually do with some of these is bidet attachment is put it into a SCAG campaign. So let's actually look inside this campaign right here. I see bidet attachment. What was the best bidet toilet attachment? Okay, cool. So this is working for SCAGs. Now understand that what works in shopping isn't always going to work in search campaign. That's why you have to test. And so I see that we have bidet toilet attachment right here, $19 cost per conversion. This is perfect. This is awesome. And this is literally, you can leave this on and it'll just keep going and going, and you really don't have to do much. Once you find kind of winning keywords and winning terms, like the way this is structured, there's a plus right here, so bidet toilet attachment. What you'll see is that your ad will show up as long as it has these words in some kind of combination, and it can have an extra word at the end. Usually the longer the term, the better, because it's more specific, more just hyper-targeted traffic. So the way this is structured is very good. The only Achilles heel I could see with this is just the product. The fact that you made this work is fantastic, but if you can take the same process and do it for a different product, that would be exactly like the direction I would go. So, good job for getting a 2.32. You could definitely just take this approach and go and do a different product, and it would be like 200 times easier. So now let's actually look at a contrast example. So we'll see that this person spent $736 or pounds, and they're at a 1 return on ad spend. Now, when I kind of look through here, so here's their store. They're selling this, the booty bands, and it's Gym Goat, but let's see what happened here. So if we look, I think the biggest thing is that there was a ton of products being advertised. Like if we look through here, we have these booty bands, Pilates, and if we look actually at the search terms, you'll see that a ton of search terms are showing up. Black yoga mat, a barbell, glute bands, like skipping rope. This is gonna make it absolute hell. Like this is the best way to drain your budget. It's very tough. When you have just everything advertised, you really wanna have a focused product, or like a top 3 like focused products. And then that way you can optimize from there, because what you can do is you can exclude this, add this as a negative keyword, add this as a negative. Now, I do see that we got a conversion for barbell, but that's like a shot in the dark. Like it's gonna be hard to focus and see which product is doing the best and how to optimize. So what I would say after looking at this is there needs to be a shopping campaign and single keyword ad group campaign. You need 2 campaigns. You need to focus on 1 to 3 products inside a niche. So you can try and test, different products in the fitness industry, but you need to have a focus so that way you can start excluding your keywords and start understanding where you need to rank. Because truthfully, as you start running your shopping campaign, you should go into the settings and you should change your bid. Once you get enough conversions, you're going to actually change your bid to target ROAS. You're going to have now machine learning and hyper-targeted traffic to find your exact customer. Because what we'll see if we look at all campaigns, and since you have search campaigns, let's go into here. I'll show you guys. So Google actually knows what's been converting, who's been converting, how old they are, what time of day. Now, as we get more advanced, we can adjust certain devices. Like we see that we are getting a ton of conversions for computers. Well, look, we're getting 2 conversions, very profitable. We should actually up our bid on this. And for mobile, we should decrease our bid because maybe it's unprofitable on mobile for whatever reason. Maybe we're getting better traffic for computers. So this is there's so much that you can do when you deep dive into the data and you have a focused approach. You can see which campaigns are doing well. Should I up the bid? Should I lower the bid? So let's actually now go through a couple other examples inside Facebook ads. Because look, when you're running your Google ads, it is very hard not to see some traction, especially when you're just kind of going in a more focused approach. But as you start getting data, you can then do the same thing with Facebook and have a very targeted approach and a full ecosystem where your brand literally seems like it's everywhere. So let's actually start by going into this account right here. Now, here's what's interesting. So I noticed that actually they aren't doing that bad. So a 2.55 return on ad spend with this campaign. Now, this is a CBO and it's with a conversion objective. Now, let me actually just kind of break down inside this campaign and I'll show you the settings that I would change. But the first glance is I noticed that we have these 5 ad sets, but some of them are broad, some of them are mixed with different interests. And what's funny is actually this one is doing pretty well. Like you're at a 3.48 return on ad spend with 30 purchases. But the problem is that we don't know what actual interest gave us the best results. Because this interest probably could give us, let's just say this one gave us a 4, this one gave us a 1, and this one gave us literally 0. There was no purchases coming. Like we can optimize and segment which audience is best, especially early on since we don't have enough data, by going with one interest in each ad set. You do not want to stack them. So that's the first thing. And if I keep going, the settings, okay, I would actually change this. So I don't choose automatic placements. I do manual placements, and I actually go only into the feeds. So Facebook feed, Instagram feed, and that's it. I uncheck stories, stream, I uncheck all of this, right? But I won't change your settings. But that's what I do every single time. I've noticed the best results with that. And conversion window, this is good, 1-day click. That's exactly what I choose as well. And I also see the targeting for locations. US isn't in here. So, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. And as far as exclusions, I personally do 180-day exclusions of purchasers. So that's typically what I like to segment. And other than that, this is pretty good. And we have our conversion rate as purchase. We have our pixel in there. Okay, good. And everything's good. Now let's actually look at the ad creative. So I want to actually break down the ad creative because it's definitely one of the most important parts. Now I see that they're deleted. So what we're gonna do is actually go by filters, ad delivery, deleted. So I'm guessing they're deleted maybe because of an ad policy, but let's look at this one. So we're gonna click edit. And the first thing I wanna analyze is actually the text. So the text right here, even though I don't know what it's saying, I do notice that there's emoji, that's good, but you also wanna have some type of offer in your text. But what's more important is actually the ads. So let's actually look at that right now. Okay. So first thing I'll say is that the ad should describe what the product is without me having to read the text. And also it needs to be a little bit snappier, a little bit more interesting. I know this is a very simple product, but you can still make it very interesting and just have better cuts. Now, a better way for me to explain this is actually to show you a couple examples. Like for example, e-com vids. Like they do a very good job of showing exactly what the product is, or at least a scroll stopper in the first 3 seconds. So let's actually just look at one of the videos. Boom. So it shows you exactly Why would you want this product? What is the reason or purpose of this product? And so as we go, it's going to explain how this product works. What's the benefit? Good. We have our demographic right here. It's very relatable too, because it's not all just professional content. It then shows almost like an iPhone style quality. So this is really good, and obviously it's edited very well. This is a professional company, but it's not about editing your videos perfect. It's just about following the right structure. So the right structure is, first, you need a hook, because if you don't have attention, then you can't sell the customer anything. So you need to have their attention. So we start with a hook or a scroll stopper. Then you want to explain, what does the product do for them? So you need to explain exactly what your product is, and you can't drag it out. Then after that, you need to answer all the features and benefits. Any frequently asked questions, you're going to sprinkle it in through the video, kind of make it engaging and interesting. And then at the end, you're always going to have a call to action or a reason for them to click, which is typically, sales happening now. So that is a very simple structure, and you guys can go through this page and you can get some ideas on different ways to kind of do that. Okay, so now let's go into the next ad account, and this will be one of the last ad accounts we go over. So we have our video viewer lookalikes that's still on, but overall we have a 1.44. So what has been doing better? Okay. So look, the ad set budget optimization campaign has been doing better. So all of these are CBOs. So let's look at this one. We were just doing 2 ad sets. Okay. All right, let's look at the one that's active. Okay. So one of the biggest mistakes I see is, like, a lot of people might have already a winning product. You might have a winning product, but your structure is not very organized. So it's going to be very hard for you to see where you need to have your targeting. So like this, even naming convention tells me that there's a big mess. You want to have, you want to have a 1% lookalike, 2%, and 3%. So I noticed that this is actually for the 95% video viewers. So you want to have your lookalikes of video viewers and then your lookalikes of add to carts in the last, just say 30 days. And then you want to have your 180-day purchasers, all 1%, 2%, 3%. Like if you're going to do lookalikes, those are your best ones to start with. By the time that you have a ton of data, let's just say 500 purchases, or you're scaling, you're at $3,000 a day, you could start testing broader and further lookalikes, like a 7 to 10%. But when you're just starting, it's important. You want to stay very relevant to the data that has proven to work. And then you can start kind of using Facebook's pixel to find different buyers in different audiences, because eventually to scale, yes, you do have to have a ton of different audiences, and you can start getting more advanced. You can start breaking these down, and you can break them down by platform, and we can see, all right, what gave us all the conversions? We'll see like, oh, it was mainly Facebook. Maybe I'll duplicate this and only target the Facebook platform instead of spending on Instagram, which wasted $26, and let's just spend more on the Facebook platform with this specific audience. So by dissecting and segmenting your audiences, it's very, very powerful. Now, if we look at the product, we see that it's this magnetic 360 charger. I've actually seen this quite a bit. That's interesting. It's very catchy. And look how simple this product is, but yet you can still make it very engaging into an ad. So that's one thing I would definitely take away from this. They explain the features very well. It is a good ad, it's a good start, but I think the biggest thing would be this account structure of how you're getting your data to now just test the lookalikes. But that is about it for this video. And in the next one, I'm thinking to do one of 2 options. Either I'll cover logistics and exactly how to find suppliers, find private agents, and how to negotiate. So I'll either cover that in the next video, or I can cover an in-depth Facebook ads tutorial. So let me know which one you guys would want. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.